Aloha everyone, and welcome to People in Nature here at Chaminade University. When you first log in your Canvas course shell, you're going to be brought to a home page. This is what I'm showing you right here. Some other important regions that you're going to want to pay attention to are going to be found on the left. This is where you can find announcements, where I might be telling you important information, also where you can find your assignments and some deliverables. Also your quizzes are going to be found here. So this is where you're going to be tested on the information, and the information that we'll be going over throughout the course is going to be found under Files, here in this Files section. Um, Now, in light of the recent rise of COVID cases here on Oahu, President Babington has made the executive decision to start this fall semester entirely online. So we are going to actually be holding online instruction until September 11th, and then we will be proceeding as instructed from there. So to that end, I'm going to be video recording all of my lectures. You'll be finding them on my YouTube channel, which I will show you in just a minute. And then all of the lab outings are going to be individualized lab outings instead of group lab outings until we hear more. So I'm going to have a list of proposed lab outings, and you can do them kind of in whatever order you'd like, but I'm going to recommend that you, for at least the next 3 weeks, focus on a particular 3 so that if we do end up with regular instruction, we can resume group outings. But there's a list of proposed lab outings that you can find in the lab course shell, and that's going to be found over here. And along with that, we're also going to have some deliverables. That'll be found under the assignment section, and underneath here you can see each of the different outings that we would have been going on as a group that I'll be asking you guys to go on individually depending on what is open. So we're really going to be playing this kind of by ear this semester. We're kind of in uncharted territory here. So to that end, things may be affected by different COVID closings, so make sure that you call in advance to see if these venues are open or whatnot. And additionally, if you're not here on island because you weren't able to make it in because, again, of COVID closures, etc., you may substitute your own local zoo for the Honolulu Zoo or your own aquarium for the Waikiki Aquarium, etc. So all of the information that we're going to be going over, which again is going to be found here in the Files section, you'll be able to see each of the different topics that we'll be going over individually. So here we'll be talking about ocean pollution, oceans and human health, whales and whaling, Pacific wayfinding, and each of these topics are going to have an associated exam module, which is found under the quizzes section. And inside each one of these, you're going to find links to the PowerPoint presentation that I'll be going over, also some video links, also some PDF documents that may be supplemental for whatever it is that we're going to be talking about. And in order for you to listen to these lectures this semester, since we won't be in class, I'm going to be posting everything on my YouTube channel. Here you can see my anatomy work, but I will have your own separate section here for people in nature. So as that comes along, I will be posting each one of those in their own accompanying files. So let's take a look to just scan over the course syllabus here. So the course syllabus is going to tell you about the course catalog description. Basically, we're going to be talking about biological and ecological and public health questions. We're going to be asking you to help make a social impact using your ethics and your religious knowledge. And it's also going to help fulfill our general education standard for non-science majors. And again, you're going to have to take this along with your lab. So if you guys are all registered for this class, you should also be registered on the 110 lab. And this also talks about what I expect from you, how this aligns with Native Hawaiian values and Marianist education, gives us a learning outcome, so what I will expect from you by the end of this. And then last but not least, it's going to give you some information for technical assistance if you need, tutoring, etc., and then your grade assessment. One thing I want to point out right here, this plastic project, which is currently worth 10%, is something that I'm putting on hiatus, because if we don't end up going back to face-to-face instruction, this is probably not something you're going to be able to do. The Indigenous Peoples presentation I do intend to leave into our syllabus, so we will be using Zoom for that specifically, not for all lectures. Most lectures, again, will be on YouTube, but for the People's presentation, we'll be doing Zoom video conferencing with me, probably just with your group and myself. And let's see, let's switch over here to the course schedule. So this is what I would expect to be going over if we were doing face-to-face classes, so this is kind of what I'm going to be attempting to follow if we do end up doing online instruction. So we'll be starting with ocean pollution, oceans and human health, whales, whaling industry, Pacific wayfinding, and then right around here is where we'll be resuming classes. So these 3 weeks are going to be entirely online. So basically we're going to be expecting that you can get through exam 1 in the online instruction format, and then from there we'll work forward. It's unfortunate I have a couple of guest lectures that I had scheduled, so maybe we'll have to have them do YouTube lectures or something like that. I really am not sure how we're going to proceed going forward since we're in such uncharted territory, but for now I'm going to be expecting that until we get back to face-to-face classes, you'll be getting through exam 1. And again, you'll be able to find this in Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, inside the file section on the left. Okay, hopefully we'll be resuming classes after this, but we'll be talking about the 30 meters telescope conflict, which you may have heard of on the Big Island. Then we'll be heading into biodiversity, species loss, plant domestication, animal husbandry, etc. Then we have another guest lecture on Ahupua'ag, and I'm really hoping that we end up with face-to-face classes, but we will make it work if we have to. And then we'll have our Indigenous People student presentation. So for this project, I'll have a little more information forthcoming, but you will be each asked to do a research project on a particular indigenous peoples of the world. And everyone's going to get to choose, although we'll have to start eliminating things as we go along, so we can't have two people choosing the same indigenous peoples. But then we'll have small 15-minute presentations that will be delivered by Zoom if we have to stay in online instruction, but hopefully we'll be back to face-by-face by then. And then we're going to put the plastic project on hold until we find out what's going on for the rest of the semester. We'll do ecotourism, environmental policy, and then global warming. And then again, we'll talk about the plastic project later on. Maybe we'll end up having to do another small individual projects instead. We will play this by ear as we go along. Everything's going to be assessed as follows. So 20% to each of your exams, which accounts for 80%. And then the Indigenous Peoples presentation is currently 10%, and I'll have to figure out something else to substitute for this plastic project if we don't resume face-to-face classes. So that may be fluctuating as we go along. Okay, so one of the other things I want to draw your attention to, so now I have brought myself over to the lab section. In the lab section, you're going to be under assignments. You're going to be looking at all of the different assignments. Currently, there are 10 assignments up here, and we are expecting to get through all of them, but perhaps we will only get through some of them depending on what happens with closures. So as we go along, I may be saying, oh, this one happens to be closed down, you can't do the aquarium, but Manoa Heritage Center is still available, or something like that. This Marine Biotechnology Institute is one that I actually have to set up as a tour. We have to take a boat out as a group, so if we don't end up resuming face-to-face classes, we probably won't be looking at that one. But I digress. So when you click on one of these, it's going to have specific instructions for the deliverable. So for example, as we walk through the Bishop Museum, you want to look at some of these Native Hawaiian artifacts and talk about how they interacted with Native Hawaiian life. Talk about how Native Hawaiian life incorporates nature in its everyday usage, and then write this up. All of these write-ups are going to be about 1 to 2 pages in length, and all of them are going to be graded on both substance, clarity, grammar, spelling, and accuracy. Okay, so I think that concludes what I'm going to be expecting of you, and I will deliver you your first YouTube video in the next couple of days. It's a pleasure meeting all of you, and I hope you have a fantastic semester. Happy studying and good luck in these new unprecedented times.